Folks, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Anybody know what this is? If you're a Lego fanatic, you'll know what this is. The limited edition specialty Eiffel apartment. Now this is a special attachment to the Eiffel Tower of the hidden thing from a promotional item. Super cool thing. Okay. Today, well, I guess I'm glad I'm not grading Legos. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Today we have an interesting story regarding kind of a long-term patron, kind of a nice little conversation I thought was important to share with the world. This is going to be about businesses, opening your own business, partnerships. Ooh, I know. Rudy works alone, rawr, you know. And pretty much dealing in the collectible world, the booms and busts, and the struggles and why most of it fail, and it's a very unfavorable life choice. That's what we're going to talk about today. So, Rudy, let me just give you a little downside here. So, these two guys opened an LGS pre-COVID, went through the COVID, everything went to hell. Let me just read you some stuff. So, a couple bullet points. The partner was the financial side of the LGS, okay? Lived in New Jersey. And he lived in San Diego. I'm not smart, but Jersey and San Diego, I'm pretty sure that's not next to each other. Okay, so they started off online through the whole pandemic, 2020, everything. Eventually, in 2021, they grew large enough doing online sales to open the brick and mortar store. That's a very common approach, right? So eventually, that caused me to move to San Diego, where his partner was. So I moved so I moved here, but my business partner had to leave due to other businesses, ended up leaving me to operate the partnership, the LGS, the brick and mortar, by himself. So 2 years in to this brick and mortar LGS, COVID officially kind of came to an end and everybody started to resume their life. You know, nobody ever thought that was going to happen. And I'm assuming, and this is in California, San Diego, so definitely the business environment over there was extraordinarily challenging, to say the least, coming from a guy in Florida. It was very different and not very promoting, productive for business over there. So, yikes. COVID, the economy completely shifted post-COVID, and the collectible industry was no longer what it was because, well, the collectible industry after COVID, 2022, as we know, the peak was when? Everybody? History lesson. When was the peak of the collectible boom and COVID boom? Anybody? May of 2021. Crypto peaked. Flesh and Blood released Monarch. And that was the peak of the stock market. That was the exact peak of the market. And after that, the rest of 2021 started to slowly drop, but we didn't know we were getting into. And then until we hit the full-blown 2022, 2023 bear market crash, just railing for 2 years. Yeah. So obviously, the collectible market was no longer what it was. The demand was super high the first 2 years of the brick and mortar and online. I had to hire employees to help me with the day-to-day operations. I understand. During that time, we were one of maybe 3 stores in the area. By the time we shut our business down and closed our doors, there were 7 card shops in the area. Because remember, in 2021, 2022, everybody was going to be the famous rich YouTuber. Everybody's going to open LGSs. There was free tendies and free money. I could literally buy that that dented Eiffel Tower box I threw on the floor, and I could flip it and 10x my money, take a private jet, put 15 different chicks in it, and just fly in circles and with no destination, because that was 2021, right? That would be kind of fun. Sounds exhausting, though. I'm too old. I'm getting kind of tired just thinking about it. So, this is the important part, folks. The other card stores that opened around me, 7 other card stores. Here it comes. You ready? The other card shops were mainly operated by the owner and family members of the card store owners. And their overhead was low, and they were able to price sealed products at a lower price. Ultimately, between the overhead and lack of demand, I was forced to slowly let go of the employees' hours to save the business. My partner was also not as invested in the business anymore because pretty much not being able to make the numbers work. So my partner decided to pull the plug with no warning against me. And I had no choice but to just shut and just collapse the whole thing and close and shut the doors and close it down. That's the story we're going to talk about today. Okay? One last little paragraph sentence there at the bottom, by the way. Unfortunately, we were not prepared and able to adjust with the constant changes in demand, since distribution had us order products months in advance, and some products that seemed hot would end up flopping, or vice versa. The amount of important lessons in this one message is the reason we're making this video today. I know, you guys are watching other videos on my channel. You guys know I have all kinds of things going on. Remember, this video is sponsored by myself and, my Patreons, and I sell you all cheap boxes, and I'm the reason everybody goes out of business, same old stuff, right? But this has a lot of important lessons, okay? So we're gonna get into the first part of this, and then I'm gonna tell you about the sponsor of this video, myself and my left nut. But I don't know how much you all understand the amount of life lessons that have been bundled and twisted into this message. I mean, you're talking about mindsets through different market cycles, online only to brick and mortar, pre-COVID, during COVID, after COVID, bear market collapse, the biggest boom of ever. You're talking about partnerships where long distance, moving, not making the numbers work, wanting to be hands off. You're talking about distribution, having to plan in advance, cash flow, you have to guess what's good. The amount of variables on this is fascinating and incredibly important for everybody to learn from, okay? So, we're gonna pause the video there and remind you all that the Rudy empire of card stores and basements and your ex-wife revolves around this channel. And the only sponsorship is you all watching. And friendly reminder, I have to say it because, again, I have to promote myself. How else am I gonna afford, I gotta afford 25 private jets, right? I wonder if I should get a private jet one day. I'm too cheap. I would never spend that. Like, isn't it true to get a private jet off the ground, it's like $20,000 in gas or fuel or something? I don't know. I'm too cheap for that. My God. Okay. Just understand, folks, this, I don't even know where to start on this. We can start on the important thing that it shows if you go into business with other people, and it's not like a corporation or a big partnership or anything, this isn't the same as Rudy being involved with Premier Card Grading, okay? Because it's not the same concept of day-to-day operations in risks and capital that's required for guessing and allocating with distribution, product releases, and the walk-in traffic. This type of business is so, I've told and this guy even acknowledges the reason the other card stores made it is because through the bear market and crash, they were pretty much running with no overhead and family members. They had no payroll. They were able to navigate these bad times. And 2023 was a very, very unfriendly market condition, folks. There is no way for me to sugarcoat and make you all grasp how bad the 2022-2023 collectible CCG world magic everything market was. It was the worst I've ever seen in the entire life I've been into the card world. Okay? So, similar to Wall Street, when you come off of a really bad market, historically, the following year, 5 years, maybe even decade, historically is very good because you had a full-blown flush out. So, I want to kind of jump over to the distribution thing here. Unfortunately, we were not prepared to and able to adjust with the constant changes in demand with distribution and pre-orders. This is something the general public still will never fully grasp. And if I talk to somebody at a convention, Tampa, Florida, if I talk to somebody at a local thing or my local Chick-fil-A or something, or I'm eating my tacos, I can tell pretty quickly whether or not that person has been in the industry and owned the business and dealt with the other side of the coin based on the things they discuss and the risk reward. I can tell pretty fast. Trying to really see, this guy was, the fact he made a comment about trying to navigate the constant changes in demand tells me they had very limited resources and capital. A very large business who's done this a long time won't have the risk because I've been in this so long. If a product comes out and just collapses, Lord of the Rings holiday special boxes, and I can't sell them, I'll try to run some bundles and packages, and after 1 or 2 times, if my patrons and you all watch this, say, Rudy, stop trying to dump this garbage, and I take the hint, I back away, we stop doing box openings of the Lord of the Rings, and I pretty much just stop it, and there's eventually a point where you literally just have to put them aside, even if you got mad and threw some of them and dented the boxes. There's a point when you can't go against the market. That's really it. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No matter how hard I try to sell a product or how much I believe in the product, Assassin's Creed, if the market disagrees with you or rejects it, there's nothing you can do. Now, as time goes on, time is the only thing that can kind of force change, okay? And unfortunately, this individual, I can tell, was very limited on the capital. They were just trying to make ends meet. They were talking about overhead, employees, and payroll, and and they're trying to navigate how much to pre-order and plan for when you really can't do that. That's something that I've learned the hard. You gotta remember, folks, like when you guys see Rudy's heavy bags and things in the background, many times I have all this stuff because I had to over-order, or I speculated, or I personally believed in the product, and well, patrons and you all didn't believe in the product. So I either didn't sell it all, or I had an opportunity to get more from another company that failed, and I took their product. There's different ways and reasons how the products and the things end up where they are. So you can't be a Timmy and kind of a really short-sighted dumbass and just say, oh wow, he has all those boxes. Boy, what an idiot. Man, I should just put him in the S&P. Well, obviously, yeah, I should have just put him in the S&P. Oh God, he ended up with hundreds of these boxes of Lord of the Rings Holiday. Even now, he's still stuck with hundreds of these things. Okay, well, yeah, but again, that worked out really well. But I didn't know that. It just happened to be how life unfolded. So you have these different things that unfold. And like I tell you all, you have to have a tremendous amount of capital to navigate this, which is why I've told you all, number one, I don't recommend anyone opens a store. Number two, if you're going to open a store and you're dead set on doing it, you better have massive access to capital and resources. I mean minimum, and I mean bare minimum, $100,000. And I think that's undercapitalized. In this market, with Wizards and Pokemon and Flesh and Blood and Sorcery and Weiss, Disney Lorcana, which for some reason there's 2 of you out there that are just betting your life savings on it. I'm sorry. You can work in the Taco Bell drive-thru later. Star Wars Unlimited. You have all these brands and things going on. And I'm sorry, but, how are you going to be able to capitalize on this? Just Magic alone, their prices are so high. You have to have, in my opinion now, you can laugh all you want. I think it should be like $250,000 minimum. I don't even, because back in the day I said like 50,000 when I first started this channel. And actually I think at the very beginning, 9 years ago, I think I even said 25,000. And then I was saying 50 to 100,000. Now, I don't even know if 100,000 is, that's dangerous. Because the problem with this is if you don't have enough capital, you're forced to make decisions you don't want to do. Like, for example, let's take you guys a good example. So on the 500 boxes of Ixalan collector boxes I have left, let's just make an even round number. Everything's a lie on this channel anyways. So let's pretend I have exactly 500 boxes, okay? Not 496. 500 boxes. If I had all my money tied up in that, and when that came out, I could only sell half of them to patrons, or let's just make it 50%. I did a little better than that, but let's just say. And then I got stuck with the other 1,000 boxes. Okay, well, even a store cost at let's say 180 even times 1,000 boxes, $180,000. Okay, so if your entire business is 100,000, which means after you start and payroll, you're only going to have liquid capital maybe 10, 20, 30K. You're screwed. You're done. And if I didn't have the capital, I would have been forced to unload those last 500 boxes of Lost Caverns of Ixalan collectors for 179, 189 at a loss. Okay, I tried selling them. I couldn't sell, Ixalan collectors, Lord of the Ring collectors, and Wildsville Drain collectors in a 3-pack for like $650. I couldn't even sell it in a 3-pack. Okay, and I was stuck with them. Doesn't make me a good investor. It just didn't work out, and I said, fuck it, and whatever. I left it. But if you didn't have the capital, you would have been forced to sell at the worst time of the market. It's the same thing I tell you all when you message me on leverage ETFs. Rudy, what do you think about double, triple leverage S&P 500? Oh, I think it's cool. So you're into that? No, I'm not at all. I don't own any of it. I don't touch that stuff. Why not? Because if we have a drawdown of 20, 30, 40%, which has happened many times in my puny little life, if you are 3x leverage, you lost like 99%. You're wiped out. You will not live to fight another day. If you're betting the farm and a slip up happens and you literally get nuked so hard you can't fight another day, that's a problem. So anyways, next thing I want to adjust here is the partnership thing. I've told you all over and over, I don't recommend anybody do a brick and mortar TCG, card store, anything in the current environment with the current cost of labor, the current cost of overhead, taxes, insurance, utilities, everything, okay? The tax rates, the businesses, especially if you're in California and some of these other very aggressive towards businesses and taxes, is not the most, promoting of small business and stuff. And it's very difficult to, if you're in New York City, you could be in Manhattan trying to rent a little unit for $10, $20, $30, $40,000 a month. Like, I'm sorry, there's just not that much money in this stuff. And I know you have excitement and the nerd in you wants to Rudy it out, but you're being blinded by emotions and you're going to ruin your own hobby, ruin your enjoyment of it, and it's really going to lead you down a dark path. When in reality, you need to keep that kind of separate. Okay? So please be careful in partnerships. Please don't open an LGS unless you have tremendous capital, you have a niche market, you have an idea, something special or unique. The odds are not favorable, and in life, we only have so much of the most precious asset in the world, which is time. And losing time or bankruptcy and losing a business can set you back 5, even 10 years, a decade. It can set you back a full 10-year decade. It's a very dangerous thing, okay? There's nothing wrong with trying in this world, but please, do not say, well, Rudy, you always say no regrets. It's okay to try and fail versus not try. I do say that, but that's not justification for taking on excessive risk and saying, well, I had to try, YOLO. People lean into that as leverage and justification for bad excuses. I just want to share this. So remember, folks, this industry is very alluring, but it's very exciting, and it's a very unique thing that most of the world is not familiar with. So that's all I have today. I just wanted to share this story with you all. Hopefully that helps somebody out there on decisions and businesses and capital and employees and partners. Just to wrap this up, remember, folks, coming up here, we are within a week away now from the Rudy Commander Legends 2 Boulders Gate Collector Box Loyalty Sale, which means essentially if you're a patron, the longer you're a patron, the bigger your discount gets. And even if you're a new patron, you can get a case of them and you get probably $100, $120 off market price. If you're a long-term patron, it starts getting to $300, $400, $500, $600 off. It's almost a BOGO. Like, for example, if you're maybe a 2-3 year patron, you can probably buy a case of collector boxes from me and, I don't know, maybe get $250 off market price, something really cool. If you're a really long-term patron, you're probably gonna get some stupid, I don't know, $115 or $120 or $99, some insane price for these collector boxes, which are $210, $220 shipped online with tax and shipping. So essentially you can get $500, $600 off like that. So we do have that coming up Friday. I'm very excited. There'll be some more videos reminding you all of that coming up. Obviously, if you're a patron, send me a private message. If you're not sure how long you've been supporting me on this channel, I'll let you know on your timestamp and when you've been on there. Past that, we're 30 days away from new Flesh and Blood Rosetta and the promotional card reveal, and we are grading all those cards. And folks, we're about 60 days away from the Arthurian Legends of the big sorcery mega launch. And yes, folks, we have just received the 3rd promo card from the printer. It's gorgeous. It is, the artist is very famous that you guys are familiar with from the previous stuff. And we are starting our grading in our adventure of trying to get this system in place to prepare for launch. And yeah, it's been a pretty wild thing. Thanks for the support, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying it. And of course, if you're tired of spending too much money on TCG Player and giving all those corporations all your money and fees, and again, they don't like you, they just want your money and charge you a lot, consider supporting Rudy. Remember that, folks. Patrons are $91 for all I got 8 different draft boxes from the past of Magic. That's shipped to your door, no additional shipping and hidden fees, and all play boxes, including Bloomborough. 116 shipped, Thunder Junction, Outlaws, everything. 116 shipped for play boxes for every play box moving forward. And yeah, that's a pretty substantial amount of difference. And you're giving your money to someone like me and supporting this channel versus a large corporation that essentially thinks we're all idiots. Have a beautiful day. Thank you all for watching. Penis. Hope you learned something.